Hello, my great and awesome people. Um, I hope you guys are doing super good today. I promised that I would um, get my reading of The Gift of the Red Bird done sooner rather than having a month gap in between my video. So I made that promise and I will keep that promise. Yeah, I'm still under the weather, and I actually did come full circle with my thought. Actually, I finished that when I was doing the video yesterday, the end of chapter 3 of Gift of the Red Bird. I was talking about energy and things like that, and sometimes when we feel sick or not feel well, and the universe and God and how that all kind of works, like coincides together. And I kind of went blank on you guys, and it's just because I have been super fatigued, whatever is going on, but without losing my train of thought again, when I went blank, actually later on yesterday, I was like, oh, that's what I was going to say. So for those of you who watched the last video, and of course I'm never just, like getting to the point and like reading something, or I'm always talking to you and spending some time sharing something. And I know it all serves a divine purpose for somebody anyway. So when I was talking about energy, and sometimes when we don't feel well, and even if we're sick, that yes, we may be sick, yes, we may have a cold and things like that, but also I've probably stated this in the past in some of my other videos when I talk about energy, and the energy that it goes through our body, our chakras, and that's what helps us to naturally heal, and things like that. And that's what can affect, so everything in us, and our behavior and how we feel. But anyway, my point, what I was saying when I kind of went blank on you, was even though we may have symptoms of illness and things like that, sometimes a lot of the time that goes hand in hand with spiritual awakening and growth, and maybe even new vision, new sight, new understanding. 90% of the time, I can promise you that that is going to go hand in hand with whatever you're feeling. So even though we might not feel well, we might just think it's a cold, usually there's going to be some sort of spiritual growth or awakening that comes from that. So keep that in mind. Sometimes maybe even to keep in mind how you felt prior to the downtime and how you feel after the downtime. Obviously not just getting our energy back or gaining some sort of energy, but something that maybe we had come to the realization of, an answer that may have been given to us, something that we got insight on. Someone might say, I had an epiphany, or maybe you just feel a little different in a whole. Maybe your spirit, or how you see things, or how you can change how we look at the world and situations in our life even. So so I don't want to go blank on you again. Some of you may know that I did also suffer the traumatic brain injury 3 years ago. So not only may I be down on the weather, side of my physical presence, but I'm also going through spiritual growth, a very strong spiritual growth period right now. Also, and then if I do have a cold, it's kind of like a triple whammy. So that being said, I did some of you might have seen in my other videos or some of the pictures I posted that I rescued a African clawed frog. He was a big white, he's an albino frog. He swims underwater. And he had a pail that came with him, a fish, and he was a groupie fish, and he was really beautiful, like blue and purple. I posted pictures before, or I think I made a video of them, but I rescued them about a year ago. which was incredibly awesome. And they've had some awesomely good energy and brought me lots of goodness and happiness, of course. But my fish passed away. So I went into his tank this morning to feed, to put some of his food in there, and came back and was looking for him. And he was like this. So I had that little moment, and I actually sometimes was thinking about going for a little walk, because even though I was sitting around the last couple of days, which is just not even just killing me, but my butt is starting to hurt from sitting down too long. And yes, I did say, even when we have downtime, it's okay to go ahead and binge watch your televisions, and that'll even move your energy to get you, when you're sitting still, you'll gain energy, healing and stuff. But I don't suggest just to sit around and binge watch things. Sometimes it's very good to, God is kind of calling you to go inside and just spend some time in silence, so you can hear things and maybe listen to your body and actually feel what's going on there. And that's another way you can actually feel and notice the changes, maybe the benefit and stuff from that downtime, where energy is moving and what you might be feeling sensation wise in relation to when it began versus when it ends. But anyway, so yeah, I was like, man, I should really at least try, like walk to the car, and see how you feel when I was driving. And I was like, oh, the park seems like too much right now. But sometimes, for me anyway, I find a lot of peace at cemeteries. I just do. It's a very peaceful, calming place to me. Certain ones, obviously. But that's where I decided I was going to go. So it's close, not too far from me, and I do like it too, because there's a big cross with Jesus on it and a statue that I find healing. But it's also a veteran cemetery, so there's that appreciation as well. But I figured I would drive there and see how I feel, and it was pretty close. And then I took my fish. I took Herb was his name. So it was Herb and Jerry. Jerry's the frog, Herb is the fish. And but I took him to the cemetery with me, and he got buried under a nice little yellow tree and a little hill of dirt, and looked like a chipmunk or a squirrel or something had dug the perfect hole for me. So that's where he went. So I did that. And as I came back home, which was just recently, I was sitting, I was thinking, oh, I'll go ahead and try to record another video, even if I don't go live. At least I can see if I can manage it, with how I'm feeling. And I walked in the door and went back to close the window and turn on the lamp in the back bedroom, my other room where I usually read to you guys from. And I have the tank back there, the frog in there. And I looked in there and turned the light on and thought it really was amazing to me. Not surprising, but so amazing to me how just such a small little presence of my fish made such a big difference. It's just amazing how such a tiny little presence can make the biggest difference, because the tank just seems really empty. Just much emptier right now anyway. But either way, that leads me to the thought, about, I think I've made a video before on that, how the littlest, tiniest, the smallest of things are usually the things that make the biggest and largest difference and impact in our lives. So may he rest in peace. So I'm really looking forward to beginning chapter 4 of Gift of the Red Bird with you. I am. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your presence, all shapes and sizes. And all our sameness and differences. So I'm going to go ahead and thank you guys so much for being here. I love you to pieces. Thank you for sharing yeah, just sharing with me, and I love sharing with you. So I have my poem that I read to you before, marking my spot from where I was reading for myself yet, and it says, I carry your heart. I carry it in my heart. So, chapter 4, Gift of the Red Bird. And yes, I can always go back and edit my videos, obviously, and stuff, but like I put in my last video, it feels so good to be real. So sick or not, or up or down or sideways or whatever I am, I love being that here. If we can't just truly be ourselves, then, you know, who shall we be? I don't know who else I would want to be. So here I am in my illness and awakening and mindfulness and fatigue and all that good happy stuff, because I know there's someone on the other end of this video right now watching who can relate. So I'll leave all that good, that's the good stuff, right, in the mix that nobody knows is in there, but it's in there. Why would we want to remove that, right? Things wouldn't end up tasting so good after. Me and my analogies. I thought that was a pretty good one. Okay, so I'm going ahead to start reading the beginning of chapter 4 of Gift of the Red Bird. We'll see how far we get today, but thank you again for being here. And I did read this. I'm at the beginning of, I'm into chapter 5, so I love that I kind of do know some of the story ahead of time. It actually, I think, makes the reading different in a way than if I didn't read it before. Well, anyway, if I stop making sense, I'll just go ahead and start to read. Bear with me. The obvious persons to question about life passages are those who have gone ahead of us. Our grandparents, great-grandparents, and elders. I never knew my paternal grandfather, and my paternal grandmother spoke no English. My maternal grandfather was said to be as fine a person as anyone knew, but he died when I was barely 4 years old, and all my memories are sketchy. It is only my maternal grandmother whom I remember, and with whom we even lived for the first 4 years of my life. Throughout my childhood, she visited us often, and I have vivid memories of seeing her at her place of work. She ran a small city tea room at a time when the women hardly worked at all, let alone managed a business. She was a spitfire, and I admired her initiative. But when she died in her 83rd year and the family met to capture her essence for the minister's benefit, I was stunned with an awareness that we barely knew her at all. We knew, of course, names, dates, and places. We knew amusing anecdotes and significant moments, but we didn't know her. She hadn't let us in. She died with her story. No one could say what her true feelings, needs, and loves were. That impacted me like a blow to my person. To have lived and died and to never have deeply known. To never have been deeply known. To have always been proper and right, but to never have shared your dreams, hopes, and hurts, your acquired wisdom. So in June of 1986, when my late husband's family announced a large family reunion, I was particularly eager to attend. It would be wonderful for Beth, that's her daughter, to find her roots and meet relatives face to face. But good for me also. I wanted to hear the stories told by those with the experience of years. June 1986, age 38. Midnight. We'll leave for the family reunion in Michigan tomorrow, but tonight we've come here to our beach cottage. It feels good to be back by the water. Immediately I feel calmer and slower. At 10:30 p.m., When the other beach lovers had headed back to their cottages, I take a cup of soup to warm my hands and stretch out on my back on the cool stand. I'm doing good here. On the cool sand. I should have my own talk radio show, at least no one could see me when I... The black night sky is a part of me. Even though I'm tired from the rush of packing, this hour of stargazing is important. If I dismiss the earth, I think I dismiss pieces of my soul. I tell the stars that I am setting out on this trip with deep emotion. I have fought this awareness until tonight, but with sudden tears, the feelings come. Traveling back to Michigan and Roy's family is a bittersweet reminder of the life which was almost mine. The knowledge that sears even after 11 years. The last time I made this journey, Roy and Sarah were with me. That's her husband and her daughter that she lost in a car accident. It seemed like it was another lifetime. My new life, my today life, is populated with new friends and new circles. I keep moving forward, but now I prepare to drive back into a circle which is filled with reminders and memories. I drive back to a land of mirrors, which will show me what I have lost and what is true. I have to go on alone. Will the experience be happy? Sad? Will there be a gift in the memories for me? This morning, we drive toward Albany. Uncomfortable in the suffocating humidity, Beth is edgy, and my sister, Beverly, who is journeying with us, is a saint at attempts to keep Beth occupied. When we stop early for the night, we are all relieved. Beth and I are in the motel pool 3 minutes after checking in, and the cool water works miracles on my tightened muscles and tattered nerves. Apart from the strain of driving, I know I am tense as I allow myself to remember the dream Roy and I held for our family and our lives together. I feel so much older tonight than when I originally dreamed that dream. The young bride I was seemed sweet, but far away. She was selfish and impatient and innocent. She had fire and hopes. She even thought she had the answers and she had control. I smile, thinking about her. Perhaps she's a large part of who I am going back to see. Where is she now? And what will it be like to find her? Niagara Falls has captured us, so we spend a second day there. The power of the water runs through me, and we laugh at our wet faces and hair as we ride the boat, which takes us to the very foot of the thundering falls. Beth is also fascinated by the strings of museums catering to all the unusual and the bizarre. We try our hand at the gallery games and decide that the staggering heights of the largest Ferris wheel in North America is for braver souls. Now we're in the Midwest, riding through endless miles of farmland. Green, rich, hill upon hill. It is such contrast to the East Coast and its miles of neon fast food signs and prominent billboards. There I live with daily traffic and intrusive sounds. But in these flat stretches of corn and sugar beets, there is stillness. We drive along in silence and feast upon the land. Acres of alfalfa offer purple blossoms in the morning, and I think about the genealogy of this earth and the days when it was well tended and respected. I am reading Cry, the Beloved Country, and Peyton's words haunt me. Destroy the land, and man is destroyed. For me, even more troublesome than the fact that we destroy the land is the embarrassing truth that we have destroyed it casually. We are capable of abusing what should be respected, and doing so without conscience. What did the land know that it can now no longer teach? Like that. We arrive. I first spot my sister-in-law, Charlene, and even though it's been 11 years since we've seen one another, the bond of family covers the distance of the years. The belonging is there. We are quickly surrounded by cousins, aunts, uncles. Some I remember, but many faces are new. I struggle to relate, fathers to daughters, nieces to aunts. The strength of the heritage is moving. There are so many countries and continents and races, but among them are generations who speak my name and recognize me. I let the feeling of family enfold me. We find Aunt Jane and Uncle Array, whose spirits have supported me through all my pain. It is a real homecoming, and I drink in their love. They believe in me, and that gift has called me forth. From the center of the commotion, Beth announces, "I have millions of cousins." She is so excited. Yet when we gather to watch slides which chronicle the family history, Beth goes off with her Uncle John to the gymnasium to learn how to take foul shots and dribble. I understand. At 10 years of age, this reunion is only a summer trip and a chance to be with her grandparents. When she's 40, she may have a different perspective. It is sobering to realize that I'll be the generation of elderly aunts by then, hoping someone will listen to my story. I will then be the generation who has gone before. It makes me more determined to listen to the wisdom that surrounds me. It is the greatest thing to pass on, the greatest thing we pass on. This morning we have an adult Bible class, and I sit listening to Cousin Don Starr's lesson, moved as much by his rich, deep voice as by his words. He quotes Emily Dickinson reciting, "A death blow is a life blow to some." Emily's words are passionate, and they affect me. I have lived them. I was jarred into life by death. Afterward, Don says to me, we choose whether or not we'll be free. I like that. We choose whether or not we'll be free. I think about those words all day, recognizing my interests. He tells me some of his story. We have both buried daughters. I ask what he has learned about freedom, and he says it demands not that we have nothing, but that there is nothing we cannot give up. He has no idea what it means to me to meet someone else who has walked on a similar path and has not chosen anger. Not chosen anger. I appreciate that. In the evening, I listen to the family history, lovingly presented by Marilyn Starr. By studying our links, it is easy to identify certain traits which have endured through the generations. Genetic predispositions, strengths, weaknesses, but what intrigues me the most is the heart and will of these generations. The death blows for them, which becomes life blows of life, how they have loved, and when they first understood the truth about living. What binds them? What binds me? They tell their stories. They remember their Spartan existence at the turn of the century. I finger an apron crocheted by Beth's great-grandmother, Harriet Louise. Who will finger my handwork in return? How will my life be remembered or be recalled? And how will they tell about my broken dreams? Will someone know what I eventually learned? We are all filled with many dreams, waiting to be given life. Will they say I discovered that it is the dreaming which is important, not necessarily the outcome? In a quiet moment, I take out my dream from yesterday and look at it, and I see that it is gone. It has been replaced. It became something new, and I know that is good. I am learning to walk the path I am on, not the one which is behind me or the one that lies ahead. I watched Beth as she swims in the gymnasium pool. Her body will change over the years, but she will always be herself. The little girl who surfaces from the water today will always be her. Hidden from sight, perhaps, but real and vital. Beth will simply grow up and mature around the child, but the child will not vanish. It cannot. It is real. The elders sitting with me at the poolside are equally the young children they once were. Only now their matured bodies have grown close around them. But inside are the child and the memories. The young bride I once was is also real. She is there within me somewhere. I do not have to let go of her, only her dreams. If I won't let go of her dreams, she will be in control of me, condemning me to past moments of pain. But in allowing her dream to move and change, I will free us both. I did not know this so clearly when I came. I have learned it by watching the elders and listening to their stories. I see who is bound to the past and who is free. They have taught me a great lesson. Packing up, I have loved these days and these farm families. I envy their knowing of the earth, its rhythms and cycles. They understand that the long fields of sugar beets and soy are life. It surprises me that the nature is such a clear reflection. Embrace the land and it will feed you and teach you. Embrace all the stages of your life and they will do the same. Do not stand still, clinging. Nothing in nature stands still. Creation is always moving. The teaching is powerful. Well, we made it through chapter 4, y'all. Just finished chapter 4 and on to chapter 5 next. Not right now. But I hope you enjoyed that reading. Such good points and such good insight. Such heartfelt writing, her story. Yeah, it's incredible when someone shares something like that part of their life, It truly is. Some people look at it as just a book or hear it just as a story, but things like that, sharing your story sometimes means so much more to people than you even know. It can really help to even change somebody's life. So don't you ever going thinking that there's anything about your story that isn't important. Not just in general, but that will mean something and does mean something to someone else. So that is a great way to end the video today. And I look forward to reading the chapter 5 with you next. I hope that you enjoyed that, and always sending you peace and love, goodness and prayers, light. I hope wherever you are that the days are beautiful for you. We're supposed to be in the 70s, and that's here in Wisconsin. So may you and your families be blessed, and I will be seeing you again soon. Thank you so much for being here. See you soon.